leading on from that, Marvel have just revealed what they're doing after Civil War 2, which ends in November according to the current scheduling. So we've had a look at the sort of solicitations for November to see what books we might be excited about. Alex, what particularly jumped out at you from the solicitations that Marvel have chucked out?
The new Invincible Iron Man,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Give me a second. I've completely closed everything off, so
I'll bring it back up as well.
see, we're prepared, aren't we? We've got this sussed. There we go. Yeah, the new Invincible Iron Man looks promising. Looks sleeker suit as well going on. Um, Obviously, it's different character inside the suit, so
Yeah.
that looks promising. Unworthy Thor.
Oh
I love
yeah.
the Mighty Thor. Mighty Thor's brilliant, so Unworthy needs to be good as well. And I quite like Thanos
Okay.
because I think Thanos is just a cause for chaos,
Yeah.
and I quite like a little bit of crazy. As much
Well,
as Deadpool appears to be running the show at the one end of the spectrum with about 90 different
oh yeah.
series.
Don't start. Yeah.
I mean, Deadpool's good. Deadpool's fun to read, and I've certainly built up my Spanish as well, reading Massacre. But I like Thanos, and Thanos just makes things a bit mental. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, often you find with these villain books, they don't always put the best people on them, and you get these kind of forgettable storylines. Uh, this one is written by Jeff Lemire, and he's been kind of storming since he came to Marvel, with a couple, probably one exception, which was his X-Men book, which hasn't been that great. But he's been doing Old Man Logan. Um, what was the other book? He's been doing Hawkeye. He's been writing really well since he came over, and Mike Diodato is one of those artists who he suits certain types of books. Everyone he draws is muscle bound to fuck,
Yeah.
and if he's drawing Thanos, then fair play, he will look fine. But when he's drawing like normal sort of street level heroes like Hawkeye, he's got the most absurd amount of muscle on his chest, for someone like, for that sort of character. So yeah, I think that could be a very interesting read. You've touched on Unworthy Thor that I cannot wait for. Invincible Iron Man, Riri Williams being in the suit. Interestingly, I was going to talk about this separately, but we might as well talk about it while we're on the topic. They revealed this week that she will be called Ironheart rather than Iron Man. Everyone is, predicting Iron Woman or Iron Girl or Iron Maiden, which is a
Yeah.
litigious nightmare. But Ironheart, what do you think of the name?
Yes. Solid. It's again going back to sort of the Zendaya question that we had going on about inclusivity. It is an inclusive name as well.
Yeah,
The mantle can be passed in the future, hopefully in the long time in the future. But it's just a name, and it's more what it stands for than who's inside.
yeah,
And you've got no issues like the Miss or the Ms from Ms. Marvel, and all that disappears, and it is
yeah,
solely just about the person,
yeah.
which is good.
Bendis
Um,
made some interesting comments about it, which I'll briefly read. He says, Iron Woman seemed old-fashioned to some. Iron Maiden looked like a legal nightmare, and Iron Heart, coined by Joe Quesada after I told him my planned story for Riri, speaks not only to the soul of the character, but to the Iron Man franchise as a whole. Tony first put on the armour to save his heart, and Riri puts it on for different reasons altogether, but still heart-related. When people see her story, you'll be amazed at how simple and brilliant Joe's suggestion was. So
mm,
Joe Quesada, for people who don't know, is ex editor-in-chief, current chief creative officer for Marvel Entertainment. A brilliant driving force behind Marvel for years now, and he's the person who coined the name. So It's nice to. I always like to know the genesis of these ideas, and Bendis is quite outspoken about these things. It was nice to hear where he was coming from. So it will be interesting to see how it fits in with the story.
There is one other book coming, which I'm quite excited for.
Go on.
And it's Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah! Now we're talking.
Yes, Jessica Jones. As long as they can hold on to what they had before with the dark, gritty, mature audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to breathe some life into it.
I wonder if there'll be quite as much swearing and using the toilet and anal sex. I don't know if there'll be all of that.
Because they've ditched Max now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Max imprint's gone.
Yeah.
It needs to be though. It needs to be dark. I mean, she's got the little one, so it's picking up at the end of the Alias books.
Yeah.
Well, obviously after where Alias finished and Pulse finished, but I still think that she needs to be gritty, and she's shown up a few times in the current the current series as well. She's shown up. I think she was investigating Silk, maybe. I think it was in Silk. I saw her show up.
You've probably seen her in Miles Morales, because she's been hired by.
That was it, Miles
someone,
Morales. That's right. Yeah, to find out.
Miles' gran, I think, to see what he's up to.
Yeah.
Because she thinks he's a crackhead or something like that.
Yeah. So she's making her reappearance, but I thought initially when I saw this was Marvel trying to cash in preparation for season 2 on Netflix, but that's not until 2018, I think. And it's going to overlap with Luke Cage, so maybe they're bringing this out for the Luke Cage side of the story. Maybe.
I think Bendis has been talking about coming back to Jessica Jones and Alias for years. And there's been the occasional flutter where you sort of see Michael Gaydos do a few pages for the New Avengers that she's in, or they did a one-shot not that long ago when the Netflix series came out. But this seems like a more earnest, let's do some more stuff. And I like the premise. It is different to Alias. Alias was about people coming to Jessica with their little problems and her getting in over her head. This seems to be to do with the secrets of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Which sounds really interesting. It's a bit of a bigger stage for her than before. Things that were affected maybe by Secret Wars, things that got changed or covered up, things that can't be explained that she starts looking into.
Yeah.
Whether it makes the book too drastically different to what it was like before, I don't know. I'm like you. I love Alias. I love all the swearing and shagging and fighting and shitting and whatever else happened in it. But I do think it's going to be slightly toned down. It is showing us parental advisory, but without that Max imprint, I don't think the first word is going to be fuck.
Oh, it's a good first word, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. I'm just excited that those two are back together.
Yeah,
and I hope that they keep it going for a while. I think the good thing is with Bendis is he finds his creative partners and they find this groove and this tone that they're familiar with, they're comfortable with, and I think even if it's not immediately the same, they will get back into it and slip back into those old patterns. But yeah, good shout actually. That is an exciting book. I think the only other thing that was interesting to me was that I was wondering whether Mark Waid would continue on Avengers, considering he is taking on Champions as well, which is a young team up book that spins out of Avengers after Civil War 2, and it's got Miles Morales in and Miss Marvel and people like that. But he's sticking on the book, and he's working with Mike Del Mundo, who he drew Weird World for Jason Aaron during Secret Wars, and before that he did. Was it before that or after that? He did some Scarlet Witch stuff. He is a fantastic artist, and he's got this really unique style. It looks like watercolor. It's a bit reminiscent of like Alex Ross and a guy called Marco. I don't know how to say his name. Djurjevic, I think it is. It's basically amazing that someone can do that on a comic book drawing schedule. So it will be very interesting to see those two together on a team book like Avengers, where he's got to deal with these massive concepts and multiple characters and bombastic fight scenes and all that sort of stuff. So that one is very exciting. Any others that jump out at you that you think are worthy of?
Nah, nothing specific. I think we'll see a load more in December though.
Definitely.